Hi guys, welcome to a new video. This video I'll show you the best way to find to answer questions regarding the classification of animals. Right, this is what I used. Animals are classified into vertebrates and arthropods. There's a really nice way that I used to remember what animals are vertebrates. Farm B. So F is for fish, amphibians, and reptiles, mammals, and birds. Arthropods, IMC. I is for insects, A arthropods, M myriapods, C crustaceans. Okay. To classify vertebrates, they're not going to give you any question that's worth more than 5 marks. Or not even 5 marks. 5 marks is way too much for a vertebrates question. The first thing you can say is if it's cold-blooded or warm-blooded, because you can't have insects or arthropods that are and another way of saying arthropods are invertebrates. Right? So vertebrates, they can be either cold-blooded or warm-blooded. So you have 5 types of vertebrates, and it's hard to memorize all features of 5 of them. So you just use this table, these features to remember how to how to answer the question. So is it a warm-blooded or a cold-blooded? So fish, I'll use one vertebrate to make it quicker. Fish, they are cold-blooded. That's how you answer it. Are fish cold-blooded or warm-blooded? They're cold-blooded. How do they breathe? Breathing by gills. That is common sense. That is general knowledge. So fertilization. This one, I think you should know it, memorize it. 3 of these animals are fertilized internally, while the other 2 externally. Right, so fish is external, amphibians is external. The rest R, M, B, these are internal. Okay, movement either by limbs, like you can also say, like you can say 4 limbs, 2 limbs, 2 legs and 2 wings. You can say for amphibians it's 4 limbs. For reptiles, it's 4 limbs or limbs reduced to limbs to reduce slide, legs reduced for them to slide. So reptiles, an example of a reptile that does not have legs is a snake. And skin, the skin, it's basically the covering. I shouldn't have written skin. I shouldn't have typed skin. I should have been covering. So a fish has it's covered with scales, so you can mention that. Amphibians, moist skin, and they really like to ask what amphibians are covered with. Reptiles are covered with scales, and their skin is dry. Mammals are covered with fur or hairy skin. And birds, they're covered with feathers. Now on to arthropods. Arthropods, another way to write it is invertebrates. Okay, don't want to use that. It's pink. Anyways, arthropods, you can use IMC to memorize the different types of arthropods. I is for insects, A is for arachnids, M is for myriapods, and C is for crustaceans. Now, there are 4 of the main features of all arthropods that you can use. 4 main features of all arthropods that you can use. So those features are here. Features of all arthropods. These must be memorized. They are so helpful. They have a segmented body, and I'll explain the other slide that segmented body. Each arthropod has a specific segmented body. It's easy. There's a really easy way to remember that as well. Bilateral symmetry, chitin exoskeleton, jointed legs, they are so important. They must be memorized. The chitin exoskeleton is just like if you see a cockroach, and the hard covering is called the chitin exoskeleton. They have jointed legs and bilateral symmetry. These 3, if you memorize them, you get extra features to write down. to get extra, to get the mark. Okay, you don't get extra, you just get the mark. A segmented body, I'll explain it. So these must be memorized. Now, here. Now, the 4 main features of all arthropods, if they ask you a question, list main features of insects. List the main features of insects. Insects, the 4 main features of arthropods. You're going to say that bilateral symmetry, segmented body, chitin exoskeleton, and jointed legs. You're going to say those 4 things. And then if they require more, you're going to say that their body division is... I didn't make it a separate slide for it, but I'll explain it on the other slide. There's space here. Okay, so you have I, M, C. This is insect, arachnid, myriapod, and crustacean. For insect, just always remember that it's 3. Insect, whenever whenever insect comes to your mind, remember that it's 3. The number 3. It has 3 body divisions. 3 body divisions. 3 body divisions are head, thorax, and abdomen. Okay, so insect has 3 body divisions: head, thorax, and abdomen. Myriapod, they're like, whenever you hear myriapod, you always remember worms. So worms, not worms, like, they're not exactly worms, but they're like centipedes and millipedes. Those are examples of myriapods. But they have a segmented body with no particular division. So they just have a segmented body, and each segment has a pair of legs on it. So it does not resemble a worm, but it resembles a worm, but it's not exactly a worm. So it has a pair of legs on each segment. Now for arachnids. Now arachnids, just whenever I see it, whenever I look at arachnids and crustaceans, I just remember it directly. Because crustaceans is with C. C is for cephalothorax. Because it's head and thorax, if they're like joined together, it's called a cephalothorax. And crustacean just always reminds you of cephalothorax. Now your only thing left is arachnid. When you eliminated all 4 of these, arachnid is left, and it has 2 A's and 1 C. Like, I don't know, I just look at it and I just remember that A and C, it's gonna have abdomen and cephalothorax. If you just remember IMC, you're going to eliminate, like, I means it has 3 body divisions. C, it has cephalothorax. M means myriapod, it has segmented body. And then A is your last one left, so it has abdomen and cephalothorax. Now, back here, eyes. Eyes can either be compound or simple. For antennae, you can either have 1 pair or 2 pair, or you just don't write it, because some of them in the book they don't tell you if it has they don't really say whether they have antennae or not. But where'd it go? Anyways, for insects, they have compound eyes, and like with 4 main features and body division, you're going to have enough. But if you even need more, you can use eyes and antennae. So, but the main are 4 main features. If you have that memorized, it's going to be easiest. It's going to be really easy for you. So insects, they have compound eyes. Arachnids, they have. Arachnids, they have simple eyes. And crustaceans, they have compound eyes. But for antennae, crustaceans, they have 2 pairs of antennae. Insects, they have 1 pair of antennae. Arachnids, they don't say, but myriapods, they have 1 pair of antennae. So with those main factors, with those specific things memorized, it'll just click to your head, and while solving past paper theory questions or multiple choice questions, it's always going to help you. Thank you for watching.